Prime Time Local News, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
And here in the Vermilion-Lloydminster Wainwright riding, Garth Rosewell has been re-elected for a second term. Our Shelby Clark was on the scene last night for his reaction when results finally came in.
Rosewell, along with his supporters, were happy to see he's been re-elected for a second term to continue working on his progress in the constituency.
The three main reasons that I'm running, that I ran this time, was to push back on the war on fossil fuels. That's always been part of what I've been trying to do. The other one is affordability relative to utility costs and gas, stuff like that. So that's really important to me. And then healthcare.
Rosewell explains that from a constituency level, they've solved many issues brought to his attention from municipal leaders within the riding. After a province-wide health tour with former Health Minister Jason Copping, Rosewell discovered areas he'd like to help with in his second term.
He's really kept me involved in all of it, and there's lots of issues that have to get fixed there. He built a framework of how things are going to improve, and he said, look, if I don't make it, we need someone that can jump in the seat and go again, or at least help them out in whatever way I can to improve things in the healthcare field.
Rosewell has been listening to residents' issues and their priorities he can help achieve with them. The Food Trade Pilot Project in Lloydminster is one of his accomplishments, an example of issues he'd like to achieve in the future.
You know, we now have a pilot project for 2 years to be able to trade food across the city, and that was initiated by the Chamber of Commerce. So they did that. My job was to try to motivate our government to participate in that. And once they did, it took 2 years to get the regulations in place to change everything around. But that was initiated by the Chamber of Commerce. So that's the way it seems to work best for me, and I want to continue that for sure.
With the UCP as a majority government, Rosewell believes he has more input into policies than he did before.
I really like what we're doing. We're bringing lots of business into Alberta. We have de Havilland moving here to build airplanes. Now, you know, you just wouldn't imagine that's going to happen. But we're doing those types of things, and the reason they're coming is because it's a friendly place to do business and our taxes are competitive. And you know, we're going to be challenged on it, and policy, the good policy is always the one that's been challenged. So, you know, we do some good challenging of policy and change things from here, you know, to just try to come up with the best system overall. Yeah.
Shelby Clark, Primetime Local News.
And now moving to local news, Lloydminster District Co-op and the Synergy Credit Union have teamed up in support of Border City Connects. The support comes in the form of a fourth Paravan accessible vehicle. Border City Connect's goal is to provide reliable transportation for mobility challenged individuals. The cooperative businesses provided $55,000 towards the new van.
We did get a grant from the Saskatchewan government. We did also have a hockey game last year where we raised over $50,000 or $60,000, and most of that was by the hockey players themselves. So it's really, and that portion went into that as well.
With the tagline connecting our communities, Border City Connects is excited to have their fourth van hit the streets of Lloyd.
So it'll be utilized for the school divisions for students with intellectual and physical disabilities. But then we do so much more. We do safe rides homes. We transport nonprofits all over the place. Residents in recovery, we've dealt with. We've been working with them, transporting their kids for years. Like someday Tyler's going to owe us about $20 million, but that's okay. We do it for nothing, right?
The fourth van will be fully operational and in use starting today. Now it's time for us to move over to sports now. The Lloyd Comp Barons football team is hosting a camp for new and old players this week. With more, here's our Thomas Wildman.
1, 2, 3, fly!
After a long break, students were on the field training for the upcoming season in the fall, with some young hopefuls wanting to make the team next school year.
It's definitely a lot of hard work. You need to put work in the off season as well. You know, you can't just be sitting around all the time. Definitely work on your conditioning. It does get really hot in the on season. You know, there's a lot of strength to it, but it is all about technique as well. Technique plays a really big part in this sport.
While plenty of players are back to play another season of high school football, some members of last year's team won't be returning as they age out and graduate. One of the main parts of the camp is finding replacements for those retiring players, as well as showing the newer players the ropes.
Well, it was really important for our seniors to be here too, because we're teaching the rookies the plays and stuff, because I know my first year I was scared, you know, learning the plays and getting in on the field, so it's important for us to be here, you know, so we can give them a hand and stuff.
The entire Barons team and staff will be experiencing something new this year, as they will be playing in the North Saskatchewan Football League, which is a challenge that head coach Kieran Link is looking forward to.
We're really excited to be playing against some of the top teams in the province of Saskatchewan, teams out of PA, teams out of North Battleford, and Saskatoon, Warman, Martinsville area. And so that's going to be a step up in terms of week in and week out, that we're playing bigger football teams in terms of population base. You know, St. Joseph's out of Saskatoon is going to be coming down here, and so we're going to have to coach our guys up so they're ready week in and week out to play against some of the best in the nation, because frankly, Saskatchewan the last 3 years at the under-18 tournaments has won the national gold medal. So Saskatchewan's got an excellent football culture, and we're excited. I'd be a little nervous to making the big jump up to the big leagues. So right now we're trying to get continuity right now. We're trying to install things as quick as possible to make sure that we can hit the ground running in August. So our first game, we're ready to rock and roll.
Thomas Wildman, Primetime, Local News.
And sticking with sports, the Lloydminster Reapers Rugby Club is looking for new members. As Stacey Comer found out, organizers are hoping to rebuild, and the team is family friendly.
I'm happy to be joined today on Primetime Local News by Cale Miller. Cale is with the Lloydminster Reapers Rugby Club. Thank you for joining me today.
No problem.
Well, let's talk about the Reapers Rugby Club. A very unique situation and a great opportunity for people to join this team, both men and women, because it's free. Tell me about that, Cale.
Yeah, so the club's been going on for about 20 years now, and I just was elected as president. After the pandemic hit, we lost a few players, and now that that's all over with and we're able to start playing again, we're really trying to get the club going again. And so, yeah, right now it is completely free to join, no catch at all. Just come down and play with us. In the future, there might be a fee if we get new jerseys, new equipment for the more serious players. But if you want to come down and practice with us and be part of the community, there's no cost to it at all.
Now, if you are going to show up to a practice, though, you do need to bring a few things. Cale, what do you need if you're going to come out and practice with you guys?
Right now, you just need a good pair of running shoes. If you do plan on learning the more physical part of the sport, tackling and all that proper stuff, we recommend a good pair of cleats and a mouth guard for that.
And so when will the club actually start playing games this year?
We've actually already been playing some games. About 2 weekends ago, we went to Rugby Fest in Edmonton, and it's on just kind of a word of mouth basis as we hear of things. It's very loose right now still, but as we hear it, people can go, and there's no obligation to play games if you don't want to. We have some people that have just joined the club who just want to come to the practices to learn the game, potentially make some friends, maybe get more fit, lose some weight. We have people from every walk of life that just want to come, join, have fun.
Is there an age limit, and also is there a certain skill level that you need to have to join the Reapers?
Right now, you can come to practice basically at any age. If you plan on playing games with us, you have to be 18 or older, or if you are under 18, you need parental consent. And if you are currently playing as part of a team and you're in high school, you can't play games with us, but you can still come to practice. And there's no limit. We have people who are in their 40s, 50s, and almost their 60s joining.
So this could really be an event for the whole family.
Yes, exactly. That's the whole point. We really want to make it all inclusive, no judgment, just come out, have fun, learn the game. We had our first really big practice yesterday, and we had tons of new faces, people who have never played rugby, watched it or anything, and they had a blast.
So if anybody wants to just check this out, Kale, when are the practices and where are they?
Mondays are 6 p.m. Thursdays are 7 p.m. They are at the ES Laird school field.
And if someone is looking for more information and, maybe just aren't quite sure about joining, Kale, who do they reach out to or how do they get the information?
They can ask on the Lloydminster Reapers Rugby page on Facebook. We also have an Instagram with the same name, and they can reach out to me, Kale Miller, on Facebook.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Kale. This is just an awesome thing. First of all, the fact that it's free, and secondly, that the whole family can come out. So we wish you lots of luck with this, and thank you again for speaking with us today.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
And now it's time for us to check in once again with Shelby Clark, who has another look at your weather forecast.
Thanks so much again there, Mr. Jace Mackey. Yes, now taking an extended look at your weather forecast, we will be starting off with our central zone of the provinces. And we are kind of matching with the same temperatures that we were seeing yesterday. We were, for the most part, seeing some of those mid-20 temperatures, especially with Rocky Mountain House and Red Deer at 24 and 25. And then we have just past that 20-degree mark with 23 in Edmonton and 21 over in Jasper. But then we start to slightly cool down from there as some of these areas now are back to those teen temperatures. We're looking at 17 in Athabasca and 18 in both Whitecourt and Edson, so we are kind of seeing a different switch up in some temperatures on our Alberta side. And Cold Lake is kind of matching with us more here in the center there at around 24, so they are looking slightly warmer. Going over to our Saskatchewan side, however, they are even getting closer to that 30-degree mark. Looking at that 28 in both Saskatoon and Prince Albert, so they're just a couple degrees from that 30-degree mark, so they are looking a lot warmer from what they have been seeing throughout the week. We have 26 over in Melfort, and then we have the rest that are sitting at those teens with North Battleford and Meadow Lake at 15 and 17, but we will be definitely seeing a switch up as we head into tomorrow for our daytime highs. We will be looking at a switch up in some of these temperatures. Going over to our northern zone now on our Saskatchewan side, they are looking slightly warmer compared to our central zone. Not quite hitting that 30-degree mark or 28 degrees, but they are all for the most part seeing past that 20-degree mark on our Saskatchewan side. 21 in both Stony Rapids and South End, while we're having 22 up in Uranium City, 23 in both La Loche and Buffalo Narrows, and then Wollaston Lake and Flin Flon seeing the warmest conditions on that side with 25. And going back over to Alberta side here, they are looking slightly cooler from what they have been seeing yesterday, as most spots are now just seeing those teen temperatures. Looking at 15 in Slave Lake, so Slave Lake has been seeing some slightly cooler conditions throughout this week and even last week as well. Then we have 17 in Grand Prairie, Peace River and High Level just underneath that 20-degree mark, and Fort Chipewyan and Fort McMurray seem to be looking at the warmest conditions with 21 and 24. And now as we go over to our southern zone, yes, they are looking slightly warmer from what we have been seeing in our central and our northern zone, especially in Medicine Hat now that they are just hitting that 30-degree mark. So we have some scorchers already in some of these areas. Lethbridge is just at 27, while we have 26 up in Coronation, and usually Coronation sees slightly cooler conditions, but now they have warmed up. And then we have Calgary kind of matching with us more in our central zone at 24, and Banff is still looking slightly cooler at 19, so they haven't quite hit that 20-degree marker, broken through that into our 20s. So we are looking a lot warmer in our southern zone on our Alberta side, especially down in these two spots here. We've got some scorchers already, so I can't really imagine what they're going to be expecting for tomorrow. And as we go over to our Saskatchewan side, they also have some scorchers going on in some of these areas, 28 and 29 with Kinnersley and Moose Jaw. Looking at that 27 over in Regina, and of course we had that story seeing some of the damage from that tornado, so glad to know that most everybody is safe after that. Then we have 26 there in Swift Current. Estevan is at right in the middle there with 25 and 22 in Yorkton, as they are looking slightly cooler, but you know, we're all seeing past that 20-degree mark, so looking a lot warmer on our Saskatchewan side. But now as we look at some overnight evening lows on this list in our surrounding areas, we are probably going to be seeing some of the warmest conditions yet for our evening low temperatures. As we look into this list, we all for the most part will be expecting those double digits for tonight. A low of 11, Bonnyville will be expecting. Most spots are going to be seeing a low of 12, and Isla Cross will be expecting a low of 13. So we are going to be expecting a very warm evening tonight, so I would say try to make sure you got some AC going if you have it, or for the, maybe try opening up some windows if you need to, because it will be quite warm tonight. And most of these areas are also expecting a high chance of some showers later on in the evening, which will be very nice, of course, to help with those dry conditions. And looking at our Wednesday here in the border city, we already are starting off at that 17 degree point right off in the morning. And for our daytime high, we will be hitting around 29, almost 30 degrees. So like I was saying, we are expecting a scorcher for tomorrow, because as we go past that into our Thursday, we will be cooling down, but hopefully getting some more precipitation on Thursday. And then we will start to warm it up as we head into the weekend. And we are seeing lots of big chances of some rainfall. So let's hope that we actually get it, because we are in much need of that. And as we pass through our weekend into next week, we'll start to warm it back up with 25 next Monday and 26 next Tuesday. And that's all I have for now. Our Jace Mackey will have our news coming up after the break.
I'm back at Border Paws Animal Shelter for another edition of Pet Project, and we are once again in the cat room because there is an overflow of cats. You are officially at capacity, and kitten season has officially started and kicked off. Tell me a little bit about that situation and, you know, how you guys are doing and all that fun stuff.
So yeah, we're just kind of in our one cat room right now. These are the cats that are usually pretty good with everybody else, so it's kind of nice. They're not confined to a cage. You know, they kind of get a better taste of what life would be like once they get adopted, which is really nice. But yeah, so I figured kitten season would have started a little sooner, but it is now in full force. So yeah, we're receiving kittens every day now. Luckily, we have amazing fosters, and they've because majority of them have been bottle babies so far, which with bottle babies, it requires feeding every 2 hours, just like a normal baby, human baby. And so yeah, no, our fosters have kind of reached out, but we are definitely at max capacity. So we just ask the public, if you find a cat, to give us a call, because we unfortunately don't always have the space. So if you call us, we can get you on our waiting list, and we'll try our hardest to get you in as soon as possible, or reach out to fosters to see if we can get a foster home to take them.
And in that situation, if they do find a cat and they give you a call and you're at capacity, would you recommend that they hold on to the cat just for the time being, or what would you suggest in that situation?
Yeah, so if they can hold on to the cat, that is amazing. I understand sometimes that's not feasible. You know, you have your own animals. You always got to be careful too if that animal has something you don't want to. So I mean, if you are taking a cat in that you found on the street, we can provide you with everything you need until we have space. So food, litter, toys, bedding, all of that. The only thing is, if you are taking a random stray in from the streets, I do recommend making sure that your animals are up to date on vaccines, because if your animals all have their vaccines, your cat should be totally fine. I would probably just seclude the animal, maybe in a bathroom or a spare bedroom, even a garage works, and then just give us a call and we will try our hardest to get you in as soon as possible.
So it would be like a short-term foster situation.
Exactly, right. Unfortunately, we only have so many cages, so I mean, we do need to quarantine the animals for 2 weeks before mixing them in with our adoptables, just for disease control, make sure that animal's not sick so we're not passing that along. I mean, if an animal is vaccinated, they have a much more higher chance of survival if they do come into contact, but unfortunately there's certain diseases that just, you know, affect everyone. So yeah, I would just recommend giving us a call. We'll set you up with whatever you need. If you don't mind hanging on to it for a bit, we really appreciate it.
And I know we've talked about this a couple times, but just it's a good reminder, if people want to foster, how can they get involved in doing that?
Absolutely. So yeah, no, they can just go right to our website and you fill out a foster application, and then our foster coordinator will get in touch. We also have a Facebook page. It's called Border Paws Foster Page. You can go and join that, and then actually our foster coordinator actually posts the different animals we're needing. So if you're kind of wanting something that's your fit, more to your fit, you can kind of pick and choose who you want to apply for, as well as, you know, even if you're in the kind of looking for a cat and you want to test it out, that would be a good way, foster an animal, and then you can kind of see if it works, and then if it doesn't, you can bring it back and we will find somebody else to adopt that animal.
Which seems nice, especially like you said, if people want a kind of a trial run, because you know, you don't know the situation until you're in it with it, so you don't want to fully commit until you know for sure that it's a good fit, which is great that you guys offer that for people. It kind of takes the stress off of them for sure. Now, you don't really have any events to talk about coming up, but we do have events that have passed, specifically the Tattoo Expo and the Legacy Center, and then the Motor Show as well. So tell me a little bit about how those went and how it went.
Yeah, so it was really awesome this last week. It was very busy for us. We were at the Tattoo Expo, which I don't know if you had a chance to check out, but it was amazing. It was really fun, great atmosphere. I know all the artists there were amazing tattoo artists. So yeah, we had some adoptable animals there over the weekend, and it was really nice. I know we got some interest in one of our senior dogs, so that was nice to see. So yeah, it went really, really well as we had the Legacy Street Market. We did a bake sale. We ended up raising $300 from that bake sale, so that was really nice. And speaking of bake sale, we do still have some baked goods, so if anybody does still want to get some last minute baked goods, they can come down to the shelter. We'll be selling them till 4 o'clock today, so just pop on in, and if anything, you see you like, it's by donation. And then we also, I didn't mention it last week, but we also had the Spring Rev Up with Lloydminster Motocross. They were selling lemonade for us there. I believe they raised $100 in that. And yeah, again, we had some animals there, and it was just fun for everybody.
It's awesome when you guys go to events that you wouldn't really think that an animal shelter would go to, like the Motor Show or even the Tattoo Expo.
Exactly.
I think, but it's a great way to, cater to a different group of people, because you have different people going to the Tattoo Expo. You have different people going to the motocross show as well. So it's a great way to kind of expose your guys' self to other forms of community, which is awesome. And you'll have a little bit more events to talk about next week.
Yes.
So we won't really touch on that. Is there anything else that I haven't brought up that you would like to mention regarding, the cats or even the dogs in the shelter?
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, we are at max capacity. We have gotten a few adoptions out with the dogs, which is nice to see, because I know just last week we were at max capacity with them, but I believe we had 3 or 4 adoptions this past week, which makes a huge difference. So yeah, we're open every day other than Sundays and Mondays. So if you're interested in an animal, now's the time, right? We could definitely use some adoptions going, as well as how you had touched about fosters. I mean, we can never have enough fosters. So anybody who's being curious, even if you just have some questions, fill out that application and we can answer any questions you might have.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for joining me for another edition of Pet Project, and hopefully this will help kind of bring in more fosters or even adoptables to get some of these cats out and into their homes.
Awesome. Thank you.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery, downtown Lloydminster.
Well, first off, Tony, thank you so much for joining me today. We're here to talk about your brand new single that is also our trending track, which is Tomorrow Today. And that song is so, so good. But I first met you at the Canadian Country Music Week back in September, and it was a pleasure to meet you there. But for anybody who is a little unfamiliar with you, tell us a bit more about yourself.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me, and thank you guys for adding the track as the training track. That's super awesome. Well, I mean, a little bit about myself. I love country music. I like hunting, fishing, trucks, things like that. I got into music as a young kid and just been writing a lot of songs for the past about 8 or 9 years, and started going to open mics. There was actually I actually had a little bit of time in the hospital, and I wound up being on bed rest for a few months, and it just gave me a lot of time to rethink what I was doing in life and where my priorities were at, and kind of like felt like a second chance at life. And I just decided to stop putting aside the things that I thought meant the most to me. And so kind of just pursued it from there. And now I'm at this point. So.
Well, it's amazing to have you at this point, and we're so happy that you have released Tomorrow Today to the world. And you have mentioned in your bio that you do like to write songs about real life experiences and real life stories and everybody and anybody who has been involved in your life. So writing this song, tell us a bit about the process.
Yeah, so I mean, this song isn't that far off from the story of how my wife and I met. At the time, I was in no state of mind to be thinking about marriage or long-term relationships. Like the first line says, you don't think much past the next fishing trip with the guys. So that's kind of where I was mentally when I first met my now wife. And it's just a progression of that relationship and realizing that person is man, like so special to you, and the way that your mindset changes as you get to know that person and become more than just friends. And and just the thought process of, oh man, maybe I could marry this girl. And I remember that moment with my girlfriend at the time, now wife. So it's just a huge part of our story, or my story. So that's why I love writing songs that have that substance in them, that are relatable to real life scenarios. So yeah.
Well, it is an amazing song. Every time it comes on, I just keep thinking, wow, this just keeps getting better and better. And that is such a sweet
Awesome.
message and very relatable as well from the sounds of it. That is so cool. So I know that everyone's going to want to know more about you and hear more of your songs when they do come out. So where can everybody find you and your music?
Well, I'm on Instagram at Tony Stevens Music, and all of my music is available on the major streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, and all that stuff. And we do have lots of stuff coming down the pipe. So that's the exciting part. It's not just one song. I mean, we've got so many songs, and I just can't wait to get more of them out to you guys. And hopefully you guys like them all and can in some way relate to the lyrics. So
We are going to love all those songs for sure. Well, Tony, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
my pleasure. Thank you so much, Sarah. Really do appreciate it.
And off with another quick look at your 7-day forecast. We will be expecting a scorcher tomorrow, so be prepared. 29, almost hitting that 30-degree mark. Mixture of some sun and cloud. Make sure to wear that sunscreen, drink lots of water. And then after that, we will cool down, which will be a nice break. And receiving some more precipitation for Thursday and Saturday. And as we head into the weekend, we will be warming up on Sunday with a little nicer of a day to end off the weekend. And then we'll be warming up even more after that into next Monday and next Tuesday.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shelby. I don't know what I'm more excited for, that scorcher tomorrow or those thunderstorms in the next couple of days. Either way, thanks for that weather forecast. And thank you for joining us for this edition of Primetime Local News. Have a great night, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow.